he puts so much excitement, forth, and just trying to give the fans an exciting fight, and that's what you really don't see. You see guys hyping a fight, but then it turns into a boring fight or a 12-round decision. And Gennadi's had 18 knockouts in a row right now, and he understands. Abel's instilled into him that it's an entertainment business, and he's got to take risks to provide the knockouts or the excitement in the ring, and that's what I think is really unique with him, is that combination, and him being able to provide the excitement in the ring, but then turn off the switch and being really humble and likable outside the ring. That's why he's gotten so many fans, because they really like to support him. Yeah.
Do you think you agree with a lot of fans that say that he may be avoided by like the Cottos and fighters like that?
There's no question. I mean, when I go down the list, up and down the list with HBO, and who would be possible and who's not possible, it always seems to be we fight him, but just not next. So that's what we're going to make a shirt. Triple G, just not next. So people don't want to say they don't want to fight him, but it's just hard to get him in the ring at that particular time.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Want to report the latest. Now, I got an alert. It was from USA Today, and it states and suggests that there's a verbal agreement for Canelo to fight Gennady Max Golovkin at 160 in 2017, the fall of 2017. So that's really it. You guys can go. I'll try to put the link in the description. I won't put any of their information due to copyright reasons, but I could put the link in the description if you guys want to read the full article. And I want to break it down, give my thoughts on it. If this is true, that's good. It's one step closer. But the reason I don't sound elated, and I'm going to really break it down and give you guys some insight to the ego thoughts on why I'm not jumping up and down for joy. One, this has been an issue where it doesn't look like one party really wanted the fight, and it's been the case for a while, and that would be the Team Canelo side. It looks like Gennady Golovkin's side has wanted the fight a bit more, just from outspoken interviews and things like that. And I understand sometimes that in the boxing game people will say stuff and really not want it, but you got to look at it. You're a fighter, mano y mano. So if you believe somebody to be like just selling wolf tickets, the easiest way as a fighter would be to actually call their bluff. Be like, oh, Golovkin don't really want it, and then send him a contract. That shuts it down immediately. So people like, I remember Broner called out Matisse, and he was like, oh, Matisse, I'm gonna beat his ass, AB. You know what I mean? He's doing his regular stuff. Called out Matisse, and people said, oh, he don't really want to fight Matisse. You can't say that. Matisse has to be the one that says, okay, I'm gonna send him a contract, or Broner send him a contract, and then like see what's good with the fight. But the point being is, you're a fighter, call his bluff. So I don't really think Golovkin was bluffing about wanting the Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo fight. I think they truly want it, and they truly feel their fighter can win. I don't know who wins because it's a good fight, which is why I want to see it. Now, some people are going to draw the comparison to Sergey Kovalev. I did recent videos. It looks like Andre Ward is going to fight Alexander Brand. I did a video about that, and it really went in and talked about it in depth. And you have Sergey Kovalev fighting Isaac Chilemba. So that's somewhat similar. It's not really similar, but I'm going to talk about it. What people are going to do is try to draw a comparison. Like, wait, Ego, you said that if we know in the background that this fight is looming, then you'd be satisfied. But the big difference between Ward and Kovalev, and I've talked to both camps, both sides, and confirmed this, is Ward and Kovalev has a date, it has a venue, and it has signed contracts. Period. So the reason I'm happy for this, I don't care if Ward is fighting Brand and Kovalev is fighting Chilemba. They should easily win that fight. But by easily winning their fights, or winning in general, it propels the Ward-Kovalev fight. And it's already a done deal. The contracts are signed. With this, you look at the report from USA Today, the person who allegedly is close to the negotiations and said this, they wanted to remain anonymous. They didn't want to, you know what I mean? They just threw the bug out there like, oh, hey, USA, you know what I mean? It might be someone that works with USA Today all the time. Like, hey, tell the public this, and this is the situation. It might be someone with Golden Boy. We don't know. They could have, it could have been like a mole. It could have been someone who is on the Golden Boy side and just said, hey, tell them this because this is what we're shooting for. I don't know, because I don't know who the person is because they're remaining anonymous. So that in itself is not the type of confidence that you have with the Ward versus Kovalev. We know there's no anonymous. I talked to Kathy Duva directly, and she told me that they have up to two voluntary fights, then they fight each other. Contracts are already signed, and HBO has their fingers in it and their hands in the cookie jar too. So it's a mutual thing from Ward's side, Rock Nation, Main Events, and Sergey Kovalev, and HBO. It is all, that whole trifecta is aware of what's happening, and that's not what we're getting with Canelo Triple G. I hope it's true, because I think it's a good fight and it's big for boxing. It's a shame that we have to wait that long. Why couldn't it be in May? Why can't it be this year? We don't know. Canelo vacated. The other thing that makes me a little bit weary of it is the biggest report that I've seen, and the side that says they've actually received an offer to fight Canelo was Liam Smith, and without a doubt, he's the weakest link. Not saying he's not a good fighter, but most of the world doesn't know him. He's not a big star, and he's the least proven of all the 154-pound. Even some guys that don't have belts are more proven than the Liam Smith. Vanes Martirosyan, perfect example. I've seen more Vanes Martirosyan fights than I've ever seen Liam Smith fights, right? I've seen Liam Smith before, but not like Vanes Martirosyan. And Vanes, even his losses are close fights, a lot of them. You know what I mean? He even knocked Demetrius Andrade down. And Willie Nelson, when he fought him in the Eliminator, he pretty much got shut out. You know what I mean? There were no knockdowns on behalf of Willie Nelson to Andrade, things like that. So if you're trying to acclimate yourself to a new division, it's kind of like, why would you pick a Liam Smith? Why are you picking a 54-pounder? Obviously, you have plenty of time, because if Canelo fights three times total this year, then maybe he'll just gradually move up, which is pretty much what the article is saying. He's going to gradually move up. But it's just like, what is the Liam Smith fight doing for you? So I would like to get a bit more reassurance. I talked to Tom Loeffler a long time ago, and he said it best. He said a lot of people said they're down to fight Golovkin, and then when it comes down to like negotiating the actual business behind it, then it's like, oh, we will fight him, but not right now, things like that. So it just feels like it's getting pushed off. And the final point why it's different than like a Ward Kovalev situation for me is this: Ward Kovalev is an exceptional fight because it'll establish a pound for pound supremacy. Who is like really the pound for pound number one person? Ward hasn't lost since he was 14. He's undefeated as a pro. Kovalev killed a man in the amateurs. He's a beast in the pros. He's undefeated, and neither guy have lost as a pro. That's not the same with Canelo versus Triple G. Depending on who you talk to, Canelo arguably has 2 losses. You know what I mean? The Lada fight, which he got credit for a win, but it was a close fight. I had Laura winning by 1 or 2 rounds, and a lot of people feel that way. Some people thought Canelo won, but nonetheless, it wasn't a clear-cut victory where there was nothing left to the imagination, like Mayweather versus Canelo. You know who won that fight. You know what I mean? It was so clear and apparent. You know what I mean? Canelo versus Cotto. Like, that's another fight. Like, I mean, it was clear who won at the end of the fight. I thought Canelo clearly beat Canelo or Cotto, but it wasn't like that when he fought Laura. Even if you gave him the win, it wasn't that convincing of a win. You know what I mean? It was a competitive, very competitive fight, and it was a fight of kind of like halves. Then he clearly lost to Mayweather, so it's a different ball game. Andre Ward undefeated, Kovalev undefeated, Canelo's not undefeated. Same thing with Golovkin. Golovkin hasn't stepped up to that upper echelon of fighter. He looks like to be a beast and a real good fighter. We haven't seen him in there with that level of competition. We've seen Kovalev versus Bernard Hopkins. We've seen Andre Ward versus Carl Froch. We've seen those types of fights. So it looks like, I mean, most likely they're going to get past their other fights and fight each other. But waiting that long for a Canelo and Triple G fight, the fall of 2017, the reason it worries me is because we don't know if they can go that long and win. One thing, I mean, they might be. It depends on who they're in there with. And then 2, the other thing, it's not just about winning. You want to win and look good, because if let's say Canelo fought Lara and it was even closer, like, than it was the first time, or there was doubts again and people like, oh, Laura beat him again and got robbed, then that does nothing to raise the stock of a Gennady Golovkin fight. Or let's say Golovkin fights Chris Eubank Jr. and he's winning, but it's super competitive and Triple G doesn't look as much of a beast, and then he eventually knocks out Eubank in the 10th round. This is all hypothetical, I'm just saying, but he looks vulnerable in it, right? Then that also takes down the stock for a Canelo fight. So it's just like, it's so far away that it's not the same as like a Kovalev-Ward situation. Kovalev-Ward, they got to look good this summer, and then we're seeing them fight in November. So it's not like a long extended period of time where we don't know what'll happen, because I'd imagine Canelo's gonna fight, if he's not trying to fight Triple G until the fall, then that means he's probably gonna fight at least 2-3 times in between that, probably 2 more times this year, and then allegedly fight in the fall, maybe fight in May and then fight in September. So it just, I don't really have confidence. I'll keep you guys posted. I would like to see something a little bit more concrete. Instead of a verbal agreement from an anonymous source, how about a written agreement that went through HBO and it's from a source that can be named instead of an anonymous? So we'll see what happens, but that's why I'm not jumping up for joy. If it happens, I'm happy as hell, but I need a little bit more to go off of than an anonymous source said yes is going down in fall 2017 at 160 again. And there's a lot that can happen in boxing. We just seen, I'm not saying this will be the case, because Canelo and Triple G are both good fighters. However, Canelo and Triple G, you know what I mean, people get upset. That is what it is. But the likelihood of Ward getting upset or Kovalev upset based on the echelon of fighters that they've already faced and beaten, it doesn't seem as likely. It's boxing, so anything can happen. Alexander Brand could come out of nowhere and do that to Ward, but based on what we've seen, based on their pedigree and their resume, it doesn't look likely. Ward's been in there with an undefeated, bigger Edwin Rodriguez, who came in overweight. So I mean, is he going to lose to this puncher? His first fight at light heavyweight was Sullivan Barrera, a puncher who's coming off a knockout against a guy, Cairo Murat, that Bernard Hopkins, although he's a great talented fighter, went the distance with. And Sullivan Barrera, with less fights, knocked him out. You know, I mean, he doesn't have Bernard Hopkins experience, so at least let you know Sullivan Barrera is strong. So again, it's just the Kovalev-Ward fight is far more bankable. That's just the best way to put it. Far more bankable that it will happen. Kovalev is destroying everybody in his path. You know what I mean? So is Isaac Chilemba going to just stand in his way? I mean, it's boxing, but it's not likely. Let me know what you guys think. Canelo Triple G allegedly verbally agreed to a 160 bout. Hope it's true, but I need to hear more or hear something from an actual confirmed source. HBO, Golden Boy, Tom Loeffler, somebody who's affiliated and close to the situation that doesn't mind being named. Drop in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
You don't feel it, then it must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, cause this is about to get heavy. Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So it's wrong with the media today.
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.